Now, I heard him talk something and I really felt this guy doesn't have empathy. And what did he say? Ati hata watoto walikuwa hapo, lakini nilimnyorosha.
Nilikasirika, nilitoa belt nikaanza kumnyorosha vizuri sasa, akubali. Nilimnyorosha sasa vizuri. Na watoto wamelala hapa, so watoto my brother wako kwa nyumba yangu, watoto wetu wamelala hapa ya. Kasema although hata kama hii kitu itaingia kwa watoto kwa akili, but ni hasira, lakini ndajua naenda convince watoto.
You know, and I'm thinking to myself, seriously, you know those kids are going to be the wife beaters of tomorrow, because we normalize for them that this is the way we deal with conflict.
Yes. George alisema kuwa ulikuwa unamnyima mapenzi miezi mingi sana.
Ni ila alikuwa anaongea tu, obvious akosangi kujitetea. Juu hata ukimpea leo kesho ukose kumpea, obvious atalalamika tu. Na hata ukimwelezea uko na shida fulani hakuwa anaelewa. Sasa anaona tu ni kama anamnyima.
Hello and a warm welcome to Tuko Talks. My name is Lynn Gugi. Now, a few weeks ago, I brought you the story of George, the man who was publicly begging his wife Helen to come back and take care of his 2 children.
Helen mali alipo, rudi tulee watoto. Hata kama kuna issues zingine, najua unipendi kutoka kitambo. Hani hujai kuwa na interested na kunipendi ile like mume na mke wenye nafaa kae, but rudi tulee watoto.
And you guys, you told me, Lynn, we need you to trace Helen so we can get to hear her side of the story. And I did. I traced her. I can't disclose the location, but she agreed to sit down with me and tell me her side of the story and why she still will not come back home to take care of her kids. And now I also brought you an amazing guest who will help us, you know, with this topic, because I realized this conversation is broad. These are things that are happening to a lot of families where you want someone and this person does not want you back. But before we get to introduce our guest, please let's listen to Helen's part of the story.
So Helen, sasa hebu ambia wa Kenya, mbona uliacha watoto?
Niliacha watoto wangu kulingana mwanaume alikuwa anajaribu, alinitishia kifo. Alinitishia kifo mara 3, so mimi nikaona kujilinda, afadhali nitoke niende nitafute kazi. Na pia watoto wangu mahali penye wako wajue tu mimi nawapenda na niko nitawarudia tu after some time. Nitakaa nao kama mama.
George alisema wewe ndio ulikuwa unacheza, alikupea kila kitu, lakini wewe haukutosheka. Ungetaka kusema nini?
Before mimi nifikie mahali pa kucheza, yeye pia alikuwa ashaanza hiyo mchezo. So nikamuuliza na hakutaka kuniambia ukweli. Badala yake angeniambia ukweli, hata aombe msamaha iishe, akaacha mwanamke mwenye alikuwa amezaa naye mtoto ndiye ananiambia story yote.
Kwa hivyo George akona mtoto mwingine nje?
Akona mtoto mwingine nje, kwanza si mmoja ni 2.
Ulijua aje?
Mtoto wako wa kwanza mama yake ni mwenyewe ndiye alinipigia simu asubuhi kama bado nalala. Huyu wa pili nilisikilia nyumbani kwa watu na pia nikakuja kumuuliza na akasema ni ukweli, niko na mtoto mwingine nje, kijana.
George alisema kuwa ulikuwa unamnyima mapenzi miezi mingi sana.
Ni ila alikuwa anaongea tu, obvious akosangi kujitetea. Juu hata ukimpea leo kesho ukose kumpea, obvious atalalamika tu. Na hata ukimwelezea uko na shida fulani hakuwa anaelewa. Sasa anaona tu ni kama anamnyima.
Asha kuchapa?
Ajai nichapa, but mara ya kwanza kunichapa alinichapa tarehe 26 December.
Nini ilifanyika?
Kuna maneno alikuwa ameambiwa nyumbani, so mimi akakuja kuniuliza, nikawa nimemwelezea ukweli, amemaliza. Akachukua simu yangu akaanza kuichokora ndani, akapata some messages, ndio akaanza kunichapa usiku.
Ulikuwa unamcheza na huyo kijana wa nyumbani?
Huyo kijana tulikuwa tu marafiki, tulikuwa tunacheza tu, tunaongea tu na yeye story tu za kawaida. But hata sikuwa ilala na huyo kijana, but sasa ilifika mahali akanilazimisha kuwa ati mimi nimelala na yeye. Kwa sababu
ulala na yeye?
Si kulala na yeye. So wakati alikuja alichukua simu yangu akapata kuna some messages tulikuwa tumechat na huyo kijana. Ndio akaanzanga tu bisirani zake hiyo 26 asubuhi kwanza. Akaanza kuniuliza nisaidie simu yako, nikampa simu. Akaniambia nisaidie ID yako. Nikamwambia sasa ID yangu unataka kufanyia nini? Sio uko na ID yangu. Mbona sasa umeshinda kunilisha ID yangu kila siku na nashinda nakupea ID number. Mbona hujai save hata kwa simu yako? Nataka nikupe ID yangu. Unataka kufanyia nini ID yangu? Akaniambia nataka kutoa mini statement, nataka kujua vile amekuwa akituma pesa na vile zimekuwa zikitumika. So mimi nikamwambia ID yangu sikupi, na akachukua simu akatoka nayo nje, akaenda kaa nayo nje. Akaichakora kurudi kwa nyumba, akaniita, mimi nikakuja. Akaniambia huyu namba, huyu mtu mmeongea na yeye lini? Amekunia ndiye alikupigia ama mimi ndio nilimpigia? Nikamwambia mimi ndio, yeye ndiye alinipigia simu kwanza. Alikuwa anaeleza mimi nikamjibu alikuwa anasalimiana tu. Andi akakasirika kutokea asubuhi, akaniambia nimesema unipe ID yako. Mimi nikaona badala ya kumpea ID afadhali nitoke kwa nyumba nikimbilie mahali. Sasa akaingia sitting room, mimi nilikuwa bed. Mimi nikatoka na mlango ya nyuma na nikakimbia, nikatoka nje, nikaenda hadi kwa jirani. Akaniita, mimi si kurudi. Sasa kukosa kurudi, akatoka mbia ananifuata hadi nilianguka kwa shamba fulani ya jirani. Akanipata pale, akaanza kunipiga mangumi kwa kichwa na huku kwa mbavu. Na ndio majirani wakakuja wakaanza kumvuruta, ndio mimi nikasimama hapa, nikatoka nikaenda kujificha mahali. So kurudi kwa nyumba, akawa anasema tu mwanamke simtaki hapa. Kama ni kila kitu wanampea. Kuna mama alikuwa kwa kanisa. Akamwambia George, hata hii hasira yako haitakusaidia. Jaribu kutulia hasira yako, juu msichana ndio amekosa na ameomba msamaha. Mbona usitulize hasira yako? Akawa amekubali. Sasa juu mimi nilikuwa nishaomba msamaha, akatoa tu masharti zake hapo. Akasema huyu mwanamke sitaki atoke hapa, kila kitu itakuwa nampata kwa nyumba, hata kama ni kwenda salon nitakuwa naita mtu wa salon anakuja kumsongea hapo. Sibi nikawa nimekubali, hata mama alikuwa hapo akasema tu ni sawa.
So ati atakuwa anakuitia mtu wa salon kwa nyumba, ati nisiwahi toka kwa boma naenda mahali. Mimi nikasema tu hata kama ni hivyo ni sawa. Akatoka hiyo saa walitoka na masisters zake wakaenda kwa shosho yao. Kurudi jioni mimi sikumuongelesha. Nikakuja tu kwa nyumba nikashughulika tukalala. Sasa hiyo usiku sikuwa na feel vizuri. Juu alikuwa ashanipiga mchana huku kwa shingo na kwa mbavu huku naumia. Nikawa tu nimekaa kwa kiti nimetulia. Akaniita bedroom na simu yangu tu bado. Akaanza kuchokora simu, akaingia mini statement, akaingia kwa mini statement, akapata pesa vile nimekuwa nikitumia na vile nimekuwa nikitumia pesa kwa huyo kijana. So akaniuliza hii pesa nilikuwa natumia mtu ilikuwa ya kazi gani? Mimi nikamweleza kuna time nilikuwa nataka kitu mahali fulani na nikamtumia hiyo pesa aenda niletea, na hiyo pesa nilimpea pesa kwanza, nilianza kupiga hesabu hizo nilikuwa nataka, ndio nikamtumia pesa na akaniletea hizo vitu. Akaanza tu hapo. Sasa akuridhika. Tena baada akiingia tu kwa messages akapata sijui messages yangu sijui nilikuwa nimechat nini. Mimi hata nimesahau. Nikamwambia okay basi nimekubali nilifanya, nisamee. Akanisukuma kwa kitanda nikakaa na akaanza kunitandika. Kanipiga mangumi kwa kichwa na kuninyonga kwa shingo. Sasa kwa nyumba nilikuwa na watoto wa shemeji yangu, ndio wakatoka kwa nyumba mbio wakaenda kuita shemeji yangu mkubwa. Ndiye akakuja kwa nyumba usiku saa 5 kuniokoa. Na kuna watu wanauliza wewe kama mama uko na watoto, unaweza enda aje uache watoto wako wajui penye uko? Watu wanadhani umekufa. Watu wanauliza hilo swali.
Watoto wangu mimi bado nawapenda. Na penye niko najua niko safe. Lakini acha nitafute kazi, nitarudi kuwachukua watoto wangu nikae nao.
Bado unawapenda?
Ndio.
Unawamiss
sana.
Umejaribu kuwapigia simu?
Sina namba ya mwenye ako nao.
Ukisikia wako wapi?
Niliwaacha tu kwao. Azini kwa ndugu yangu mkubwa anakaa Kakamega. So ndio bibi yake ndio mwenye ako nao. But sijawahi ongea naye tangu nitoke nyumbani.
Hauna namba yake?
Sina. Juu hata simu yenye nilikuwa nayo na namba yake ni George alikuwa amenunua. Hiyo simu niliacha kwa nyumba hadi na line yenyewe. So nikakuja tu nikanunua line nyingine mpya na namba sikuwa nazo.
Kwa hivyo utaki George kabisa?
George hapana, anitishia kifo, siwezi rudi kwake tena.
Na mbona uendi huko ushago unaongea na familia yako?
Familia yangu mimi kwanza, kitu ya kwanza mimi sina wazazi. So hata nikirudi nyumbani sioni kama nitasaidika popote.
Huyo mwenye ni kama baba yako sai? Huyo ako na watoto wake na pia ako na mizigo zake, na pia hata nikienda kumalizia shida zangu ashaamini George. So hata mimi nikienda kumalizia niko na shida fulani haiwezi nisaidia. Ataniambia wewe toka tu hapa, rudi kwa nyumba yako. Basi siwezi rudi huko tena.
Sasa unatafuta kazi.
Natafuta kazi niende at least nipate pesa kidogo nikuje nianze maisha na watoto wangu.
Maneno yako ya mwisho kwa George na watoto ungetaka kusema aje?
George aendelee tu na maisha yake, asijali na sikuwe na wasiwasi na mimi. Mimi niko tu sawa. Na pia penye watoto wangu wako, wajue tu nawapenda na bado niko hai, sijakufa. Na watafutia maisha kesho.
I wish you all the best. Mimi nakutakia vyema, na venye tu nilisema ukitaka kuongea na mimi niko wapi? Niko hapa. Ni sawa? So all the best wewe na kutafuta kazi. Ni vizuri Wakenya wamejua uko salama. Maana wengi wanahofia ni kukufa ulikuwa umekufa. Ni sawa? Ongea na watoto wako.
Hello Ble. Sasa niaje mama? Uko poa? Sawa, ndakuja kesho. Fidel ako wapi? Fidel. Mambo baba. Mama anakuja. Niwaletee nini? Sawa, nitawaletea. Sawa, bye.
Helen. All right, so that's Helen for you. Now allow me to let our guest today introduce herself. Yes. Mami, habari yako?
Niko salama kabisa.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you introduce yourself.
Yes, definitely. Hello viewers. My name is Grace Kariuki Nderito, and I'm a marriage and family therapist.
Yeah.
And a mental health therapist.
Yeah.
So that is my life work. I love doing that. Yeah. And so I work with couples, with families, with individuals who are struggling with issues of relationships.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, Grace, the main reason why I thought it was to bring you on this show, it's because I realized we also have to offer solutions to our audience.
Yes.
And after covering George's story and then getting to listen to Helen, there were a lot of things that I thought, let's discuss.
Right.
According to you, what was the first thing that this couple did wrong?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that I noticed with the couple is how they didn't have malezi bora. You know, they grew up and they were not connected with their birth parents. They were not connected with people who gave them that undivided care.
Yes.
There is a very special connection between a child and the birth mother and the birth father.
Yes.
And so when children lose that, then they emotionally they do not develop the normal way. And so there is a gap that is there, which I could see with both of them.
Yeah.
Because you normally will see that in the way they deal with issues of rejection, issues of fear of abandonment, plus the when they are dealing with conflict, then they are not able to do it from an adult space.
Yes.
You can see the temper tantrums, you can see them going into a child's state. And so when that happens, then you're not going to be able to do well in the relationship.
Yeah.
So I want to really encourage people, especially young people who are watching us. There is a lot of value for you to wait before you get married, that you understand you understand yourself. First of all, get to know yourself. Now, you are not going to have an adult identity until you are 25.
Yes.
Between 15 and 25, you are separating yourself from being a child into being an adult. Getting married is an adult decision.
Yeah.
When we get married, before we have really understood what it means to be married and the things that you need to actually the skills that you need to have, then you will get into a marriage and you will be acting like children.
Yes.
Which is what I saw.
So these are grown-ups who are still acting like children.
Right.
Let's talk about George. Because when we watched Georgia, I sat down with Georgia, you would think he was a saint.
Yes.
He came out as the victim.
Yes.
Like she left me.
Yes.
She did not satisfy me sexually.
Yes.
I gave her everything.
Yes.
So what makes someone want to stay with you? Is it sex and your ability to give them everything they need?
No, absolutely not. that's not the only thing. What people do not understand, the reason why we seek relationships
Yeah.
is for emotional needs. It is not because you as a woman, you as a man, you can get all these things
Yes.
by yourself. But there is something that God created you with,
Yeah.
which is emotional connection.
Yeah.
Every one of us, we have a need, an emotional need to know another person and be known by that other person in a deeper way. It's what we call love. You see,
Yes.
that deep connection.
Yeah.
Even as women, when we stay and you are 26, 27, 28, and you are not finding a husband, what do people tell you? Have a kid. Why? Because that is what we are looking for, deep connections. We are looking for people to accept us unconditionally.
Yes.
People to tell us that no matter what, you are mine, I love you, and I will protect you. You
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
now when I look at George, I saw that George is a man who has good intentions, but he has a fear of being abandoned. And now he comes here and he finds a wife. He picks her up. I saw, like he said, he picked her up from somewhere. They met somewhere,
Yeah.
and he brought her.
And she's an orphan too.
And she's an orphan too. So this girl is also looking for deep connection. He is also looking for deep connection because I heard him say that he was not raised by his parents. They moved from relative to relative.
Yeah. Then
So
step mom to step mom.
yes.
Yeah.
So let me just give people this understanding. There are 4 fundamental needs that you look for in relationships. Because when God created man, he said it is not good for man to be alone. Because God gave Adam everything he wanted in the garden. Even now, men love power and control. You see, naturally, men love power and control. That's what Adam was given.
Yes.
Be in control of the world, take dominion of everything.
Yay.
But the guy was still lonely.
Yeah.
And God said, no, let's make him a person who is going to connect with him,
Yes.
who is fit for him. And the young lady who was made, she was made from his rib.
Yes.
Meaning that this is bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh, and we connect.
Yeah.
And when she comes to me, she's not over here, she's not under here, she is right here next to me. She's
Yeah.
my companion.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And I'm supposed, as a man, God has given me dominion, and he has given me the role of being a leader,
Yeah.
but also a protector.
Okay.
That's why she's on my side,
Yeah.
so that I can protect her.
Yeah.
The biblical scriptures, they tell us, and even traditionally, when you look at all cultures, that women are the weaker sex. They are supposed to be protected
Yes.
by the men who are in the society.
Yeah.
Now, when George now finds a woman that he feels he wants to live with, and he says, I love this woman, and he decides to keep her as his wife, in his mind, she will never do him wrong. You see, he has control. She will never do him wrong. So men like George, what they do, they will not want the woman to have a separate life, a separate mind. The moment you begin to go against what they want, and it may not be big things. I want my food at the time I want my things to be kept the way they want.
I want to
give
dress up like this.
Yes.
Yes.
I give you money so that
Yes.
you never have to go work. All those things. If we are not careful, that is a sign of insecurity, because this woman is a unique person that even God said when he created them,
Yeah.
male and
And
female,
female.
and each one of them
Yeah.
was created in the image of
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
So now when we do not understand that basic needs that we have as emotionally,
Yeah.
we think that if I give you a big house, a big car, money, and I give you all this stuff, that
You'll
you're
stay.
going to be okay.
Yeah.
But there is something deeper. I have worked with young men who in their marriages, by the time their marriage is about 5 years, they are really struggling. Why? Because when they met their wives were docile. It's as if this woman will never grow
Yes.
to be independent
Yeah.
or want to do anything.
Yeah.
That's why some men have to be careful that you're not picking a lady who you feel that will just fit within your mold.
Yes.
And I think that's the problem George has.
Yeah, the comment section, there were a lot of mixed reactions.
Yes.
The main one was George is a narcissist.
Yes.
I saw a lot of people say George is a narcissist,
Yes.
and I want to bring you back on the show
Yes.
later
Yeah.
to give us the traits and characters, or the characters of a narcissist.
Right.
But in general, do you think George is a narcissist?
Now, I'm going to say this. Let me explain to people that narcissists are not born. Narcissists are made by circumstances, by experience, between the ages of 0 and 15. That is when you are setting, in fact, up to 10 years. That's when you are setting the template for what it means to be a human being and to be a member of a community. So if I'm rejected for things, I don't have a feeling of being loved and accepted. Number 2, I don't have a feeling that I can be competent and I can do whatever I put my mind to.
Yes.
Number 3, I don't feel safe because everybody who has been an adult in my life, they have abused me. They have made me feel this small.
Yes.
And then number 4, I have not been given the opportunity to feel I'm in control. I can make choices. I can make mistakes, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You see, when you don't have that foundation of being told it's okay to make mistakes, we will try not to make them again. And this is how you do it. When we are told, whatever you put your mind to, you are an intelligent person. And even if you are not good in math, hey, look, English is good. So let's focus on your strengths. Our parents focus on what we are not able to do. So we develop this feeling of, I'm not good enough, I am not acceptable, I'm not worthy, and I cannot be able to do things. So what do? We are constantly seeking validation from our performances, the way that we relate with people. So you get into a marriage and you have fallen in love with the person. They should accept you the way you are. And what do we do, Lynn, when we meet? I tell you my gory stories. I tell you all my stories. And at that point you love me, you embrace me, until we start living together. About 6 months into the relationship, reality begins to heal, to fit, to hit. And once that happens, I begin to be disillusion, disappointment, and now we are fighting. If we never transition into, this is the person who holds my back and all that, but they are not perfect. They are also flawed. And I am flawed as well. Until we get that, to that point, what women struggle with depression because they feel they are not being listened to, and women need conversation in a relationship, and they need to be understood and validated how they feel. And then the man feels that they are not being validated about their ability to take care of the family. When we grow up with a lot of gaps in our emotional growth and our social connections, that's when you find somebody like George will say, my wife doesn't give me sex, so I go.
Siwezi ingia kwa nyumba mimi mwanaume nimefanya everything, wewe uko umefura. Siwezi ingia kwa nyumba wewe mwanamke nimekufanya everything, ikifika time yetu mimi na wewe you don't want. Siwezi fika kwa nyumba wewe hupendi story. Yani uko,
na uko nje kuna kenye kana kupigisha story mpaka unalia ukicheka.
Ukienda kwingine mtu anakaribisha like mtu venye nafaa karibishwe.
Alikuwa anakukaribisha vizuri.
Yes, mtu kama huyo, na ni msichana ule si msichana wa kusema ati atanya, hata nimeelezea story yangu kidogo, lakini akaelewa. Lynn, wewe ukuje mzee wako ukae na yeye 6 months hamonani. Wote mko kwa nyumba lakini hamonani.
Akupei mapenzi.
Wewe umpetisi yeye,
mimi kama mwanamke sikupati.
Then una expect your mume wako atafanya nini?
Ataenda nje.
So haizi vumilia.
Because sex becomes sex, money and fame. It becomes the way I feel good about myself. This is stress management, and being accepted by women makes me feel I'm a man. You see, so when I go out there and I katia a lady and she smiles at me and she makes me feel like I'm a great man. Guess what? I go home and napata mwanamke amenifuria. I begin to do what? To find my worth in these things that women are giving me.
Yes, yes.
It's feeding my ego, it's feeding my sense of worth. You see, but you see, I'm committed to this woman in my house. So what I am saying here is that in this case of George and Helen, there was quite a bit of low level of maturity emotionally, and even understanding how to be in a marriage.
Yeah.
There wasn't much. If Helen is giving him silent treatment, she is withholding sex. And from her story, she said that she wasn't withholding.
Yeah.
George alisema kuwa ulikuwa unamnyima mapenzi miezi mingi sana.
Ni ila alikuwa anaongea tu, obvious akosangi kujitetea. Juu hata ukimpea leo, kesho ukose kumpea, obvious atalalamika tu. Na hata ukimwelezea uko na shida fulani hakuwa anaelewa. Sasa anaona tu ni kama anamnyima.
She said she would even give him every time. He wouldn't even care whether she was not feeling it or not.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And women, we do that because we want to please our men. In the book of Genesis, it says after the fall, that God said to the woman, your punishment is childbirth, and that you will always be yearning for your husband. That's why we women, we get to a point watu wanaanza kukuambia, oh, we just want you to be happy, and they think because you are single you are not happy, because you don't have a relationship you are not happy. It's part of that emotional need that we have. When we connect with a man as a woman, you feel valuable, and so we have to learn how to balance that out, because it doesn't mean if you're not connected to a man you are not valuable. You know, it's just the feeling that we feel. Now back to the question you asked me, is he a narcissist?
Yes.
I want to say he has narcissistic traits, and they are this. There is control and there is power. He needs that. And he doesn't see that the way he demands it from his wife, he's not having empathy for her.
Huyu mwanamke angerudi, alee watoto, nimshughulikie kila kitu yenye inahitajika, but nijue ako na watoto. Maisha iendelee. Ikifika mahali aone it like she don't need me, then tokana chini nimwambie, hey my wife, mahali tumefikia, it's like hii ndoa bado inaendelea isuko-suko, hakuna amani. Unaweza niruhusu nitafute mke wa pili, wewe ukae nyumbani, mimi nikae Nairobi, na then nitafute pesa ninunue shamba nje, ya atakao kwa hii shamba huko nje, wewe ukae huku, lakini watoto tukizaa nao lazima wakuwe united. They are my children. So nataka unipe hiyo ruhusa, sababu kuna vitu zingine hautekelezi kama mwanamke.
And what is empathy? That I am willing to walk in your shoes. So if I am married to you and I'm telling you, babe, I'm tired, babe, I'm hurting, because sometimes these men, they want sex all the time. They don't realize that women get bruised down there, and it's very painful. So if your wife is saying, hey, look, I really can't do it because it's painful, and you are not listening to that and you're not paying attention, and then you say, if you don't give it to me, then I'm going to find it elsewhere, and you actually go get it, and then you come home and you blame me for it, then there is something really not right with you, because you are not empathetic and you are not compassionate. Very key ingredients of a successful relationship.
Let's talk about George being physically abusive to the wife. He admitted he beat her up a couple of times, and Helen is very scared because she thinks this man will kill her. But it's the comments where there were people who said ni lazima angegongwa kidogo apate adabu.
Now
so mwanamke ni lazima agongwe kidogo ndio apate adabu.
Well, let's look at it this way. Now, one of the reasons why I became a marriage counselor is because from when I was a young girl, understanding relationships, just seeing life. We used to have a neighbor who used to fight with his wife every day. Walikuwa watu wanatengeneza changa. So every day there was a fight. And so I used to wonder, how can because I was used to my parents beating me. But two adults beating each other, I'm thinking to myself, now it's like a parent and a child. So this is what I'm going to say. That physical abuse is really the worst. It's not the worst, but it is the worst form of human degradation. You see, when you beat my body, you are just telling me that mimi ata because you see, when we fight as adults, it's not the same as disciplining a child. Sasa nilimsikiza nikasikia ati nilimnyorosha kabisa, and he seems to be very happy with
and
that
proud
of it. The thing is that this is a human being who is your partner in life. You know, the reason why we are not like animals is because God gave us a brain. God gave us words so that we can be able to communicate and deal with problems not in an animalistic way, but in a way that is intelligent.
Yes.
You see, no wonder we when you look at the biblical scriptures and other writings about human rights, you will see where it talks about the punishment when you take advantage of somebody who is vulnerable.
Yeah.
And the thing that I will say here, and I say this a lot to couples who are dealing with domestic violence, especially physical violence, I always tell them, when somebody causes your physical integrity to be compromised, it's very difficult for you to trust them. And men need to understand that. The reason why a woman will walk away and never come back to you is because she does not feel safe with you. A woman needs safety emotionally, physically, and financially. That's something they need. And then for the women, I want to say this. A man needs sexual fulfillment, a man needs validation and affirmation, and a man needs a safe home. And when I say a safe home, I'm talking about when he comes home, he feels he's the king of his own castle.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
So if we do not understand the needs of men and women within a relationship, we will keep breaking down our relationships with our bare hands, and then we come back to radio and say, I want my wife back, I love her, I have given her anything, whatever she wants. No. What a woman needs in a relationship, let me tell you, Lynn, it is safety. And physical safety is very important. Now, when we talk about now emotional safety, we go into now psychological, and we are talking about emotional and verbal.
Yes.
That you are not. I hear this. There are times when I have refused to see couples in counseling because by the third session you are still calling each other ati wewe ni malaya, wewe ni mwanaume wana. I told them I cannot help you because you guys are doing nyinyi wenyewe tunatengeneza alafu munaenda toanisha. There is something we have to train couples to do. And this is what Jesus said, do unto others
what you would
as
like
you
them
would
to
have
do
them do unto you.
you.
That is basic human respect. When a man touches a woman, because a man when he's angry, ngumi yake, it will set you, I mean, into something else. His slap is bigger. My father, his soul rest in peace. He was a big man. As you can see, I'm a tall lady. My mother is short, and so my father was tall. When he would discipline us as children, because my father never, hit my mother, but they argued a lot, but it never got there. But when my father needed to discipline us, he never did it right there and then. There is one time I saw him hit my sister. Just, you know how you are overtaken by anger and he just slapped her. That girl went kuharagana huko because his strength, you can imagine he's a big man, and then anger gives you energy. And George needs to understand, he had a lot of energy, and when he was beating that woman, the pain that woman felt, and then number two, the fear, the terror that this person is going to kill me. And I'm going to say this, according to the laws of Kenya and laws everywhere else in the governments of the world, assault is a crime. In fact, in some places, if you are an assaulting person and it goes on your record, they call it a felony. You will probably never get a job. Because you are not a safe person in the community. And we need to understand that. Now, I heard him talk something and I really felt this guy doesn't have empathy. And what did he say? Ati hata watoto walikuwa hapo. lakini nilimnyorosha.
Nilikasirika, nilitoa belt nikaanza kumnyorosha vizuri sasa akubali. Nilimnyorosha sasa vizuri. Na watoto wamelala hapa, so watoto my brother wako kwa nyumba yangu, watoto wamelala hapa ya. Akasema although hata kama hiki kitu itaingia kwa watoto kwa akili, but ni hasira, lakini ndajua naenda convince watoto.
You know, and I'm thinking to myself, seriously, those kids are going to be the wife beaters of tomorrow, because we normalize for them that this is the way we deal with conflict.
Yes.
You see, so it is important, and I want to talk to the women. If you are in a physically abusive relationship, you need to report. Don't tell me the police will do nothing. There are two things about reporting. Number one, your abuser knows that you know you are right.
Yes.
And it's important. Most abusers, they do not think and expect that you are going to protect yourself.
Yeah.
They think that you are going to utanyamazia too,
Yeah.
you will be victim for life.
Yes.
So it's very important for us to understand that. So number one, there is the need for you to create, that's a boundary. That's a boundary. Behaviors do not change unless there is a consequence.
Yes.
Now, I want to say to George and to other men who might be saying, Grace unatuonea, I want to also say that Helen, also she alifanya vibaya.
Yes.
When she went, and now the integrity of their marriage bed was destroyed kwa sababu George alitoka nje na huyu akatoka nje.
Wote walitoka
nje.
Yes.
So I'm not going to say that now natetea Helen. The thing I'm saying is that both of them really they really put each other in a bad spot. Umeniumiza. They did the most hurtful thing you can do in a marriage. And that is why Jesus, when he was asked, aliulizwa, should a man divorce his wife for any reason? He said, except for marital unfaithfulness.
Wow.
The man, if he divorces his wife, he is not allowed to get married again. You see? Because God understands the integrity of a marriage is going to be broken when the marital bed is defiled.
Yes.
I have had people, men who bring women to their marital bed when the wife is away. Tafadhali, go get help. There is something emotionally not right with you, because that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
And how would you feel if your wife brought a man into your marital bed? You see?
Yes.
So people who do these things and then later on they come back and they think, oh my goodness, what did I do? They need to go and say, hey, counselor, just help me. I figure out what this is. I will tell you what it is. It is usually the fact that you never grew up from the raw. If I want, unaonanga vile mtoto akitaka kuki, anajirusha kwa supermarket,
analia.
Yes. Nobody can have peace.
Yes.
That is what we do as adults. When you have these natural desires, you are like a dog. You just see, you are in heat and you see another and you just run after it. No, God did not create us like that. We were created with the ability to say that if I do this, this is what is going to be the outcome, and so will be hurt, and so will be hurt. I tell women who come and say, I can't believe what my husband did to me. I say, the problem is that he was not doing it to you. He was not even thinking about you, because if he had thought about you, he would not have done it.
Yes.
The same thing with parents who have teenagers who get pregnant. If that child had thought, "Woi, mami atafikiria nini?" they would have not done what they did. It's because when we are in our human raw emotions where we need something, you know what the Bible calls the desires of the flesh. Your brain is flooded with this need to meet this physical need that you are not thinking about consequences at that point. You are already past what we call the point of return.
The point of return.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the parent here, the guardian, Helen's guardian, because she mentioned that George took some cash and some cows to her place. And so every time she goes and confides to the guardian, he does not listen to her, simply because George took something to their... This is a big issue.
Oh yes, absolutely. Because again, when you think about the dowry process, why is dowry done? A lot of times when we think, even when we say, tunaenda kuuza msichana, you see, what are you doing? You are actually saying, in exchange for our girl, you give us money and you give this to us.
Yes.
I remember my father saying, we are 4 girls in my family. And I remember a conversation I had with him long time ago. And it was my sister who had been in a relationship, and they wanted to come and bring mahari. And my father said he doesn't want, just in case they wakikosana nitawarudishia aje. And we know that if you are a woman who has been paid dowry for, there is that mental conditioning that now you are mine. Wewe ni wa uko. Look at the way we do the Kikuyus. When you go for the wedding, no, not even the kurashia, the wedding, the gifts. What does your parents give you on that day? A bed and a mattress. And they tell you what?
If you don't your bed has already been given, so you cannot come back because there won't be a space for you to sleep.
Sometimes we do not think about the conditioning that we get from our traditions. And it's time for us to be thinking about that, because now the world is changing, and now when people have issues of fear of abandonment and fear of being left, then what is going to happen? That conditioning takes precedent to the integrity of this person that I have been given. So I see them as my property. Nilikulipia mahari, you are supposed to do and you are supposed to be. So they don't allow them to express who they are. So it becomes almost like pingu za maisha, for real. You know. So the thing is that obviously the guardian of Helen feels obligated to send her back because he received the payment for her dowry. And I would imagine if this was her real parent, maybe they wouldn't, because there is, you remember what I talked about, the connection. For most parents, not all of them, but for most parents, they will actually act and say, you're not going to treat our daughter like that. Even if afadhali tukurudishie, because there is that connection that this person feels that no, the pain of my child, I feel it in my stomach. There is also something else that I would like to say here. When you are an orphan, and this is not the person who is taking care of you, there are times, depending on their circumstances, and this is human, so we are not going to judge them, because sometimes you feel like when this child finally gets a home, you feel relief, you see, because you feel like you have raised them and now you hand them over to their own life to create their future, you see. So for them to come back, I have failed, you see. So you can imagine for a guardian, that feeling of failure is much more deeper than the parent, because the parent, you are always connected with your children. Even if they come home calm, and I will listen and I will feel your emotions. At least for people who don't have other issues where you reject your own children, for most people, you will feel the pain of that child. So I'm not surprised that her guardian would say, there is nothing I can do. Enda ukuwe mwanamke mzuri.
Before we go to the kids, because now we have 2 innocent kids who will suffer the consequences of wrong decisions. What do you think is Helen's biggest fault in this?
I don't want to fault her, but just looking at the whole situation, I do think that there was a nonchalant way that she approached the situation, where she didn't she didn't think deeper about how this is going to affect the children. One of the things that I am willing to bet is that the emotional connection between her and her children may not be as deep, because she herself, she never connected with anyone. And so when now she is with, and I don't know her history, I don't know what other kind of abuse she has gone through. And of course now we do not know completely the extent of the abuse she endured with her husband. When you go through abuse, whether you are a child or an adult, you go into what we call survival mode. And in survival mode, you create walls to protect yourself. So what is going to happen, you will go into numbness, so you don't feel. And I could so somebody like Helen, because of the things that she has gone through, when I don't know whether we can trust George's statement that the bigger child was not connected to the mother.
Yes.
He would have preferred to stay with the uncle.
Yeah.
So kuna my first born, najua apendi mama yake. Huyu kijana pendi mama yake kabisa.
Kwa nini?
Mama yake anakuwa tu rafu na yeye. Treat like. So mtoto kama ameenda ameguamia huko kwa my brother.
I don't know, how true that is, but if it was true, I am not surprised, because from that history, you will be able to see this lady, she learned how to self-protect. And self-protection means that I don't allow myself to feel, because I don't feel. If I start feeling, I can't protect myself. So I go into that space of self-protection, self-preservation, and so I don't allow myself to feel anything. Now, the thing that I would have wanted to see Helen do is to seek for help. She could have sought for help to see whether she can be able to talk to her kids and actually let the children not feel they are being abandoned, and maybe there would have been a middle of the way way that she could, because she has a very young child, 3 years old.
Very young.
Yeah. So and again, I'm looking at her situation and saying there are options. There are other options other than just walking away from your children and not, because she wanted to leave the marriage.
Yes.
I don't think she wanted to leave the
children.
children. However, at the same time, she's looking at economics.
Yes.
If
Where
I
will
go
I
with the
take
children, how will I take care of them?
What will I feed them?
Yeah, what will I feed them? And then number 3, you're also thinking, George would not probably have let her live with the children.
Yes.
Because then he would have, the children would have been the pawn.
So the odds are stacked against her.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I not knowing her history very well,
Yeah.
I can deduce that probably she felt this was the best option for her. Like she was saying,
Yeah.
I am going to get a job, look for money
and
then
back.
come back for the children.
Yeah.
And now our laws, you can imagine now if she comes back and George decides he's not going to let her see the children, so you can see now the law would have to decide, did she abandon the children? Did
Yes.
she intend to do that?
Yes.
Does she have any rights, and what are those rights like? So it's quite a complicated situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens now to the children?
Yeah, I know. So the children will go through the same thing that George said he went through.
Sitaki watoto wakue jinsi maisha mimi tulikuwa. My brother ndiye ametulea. Na mimi siwezi taka my brother nilewa. My brother amenilea, amenisomesha. Tena anilelea watoto wangu, anisomesha watoto wangu. It makes sense kwangu.
Now, if George had sought help, emotional and psychological and mental counseling, he would have known that the way to build a home and the way to keep your wife at home is not to beat her. Because what he did, he presented himself as an unsafe spouse. So the woman is not going to wait, like she said, I'm not going to wait and get killed. On the laws of Kenya, I believe that assault includes threatening. When you threaten that you are going to kill someone or you are going to harm them, it is against the law to do that. And we know why. If you're going, and you know very well, like I said, when a man holds a woman's neck and you start squeezing it, and you are under the influence of anger, you have no idea how that feels. That's terror. You feel, because you are afraid to be able to, that you are going to die.
Yes.
I'm dying and I can't scream, I can't fight. Because once I can't breathe, then I am paralyzed. I can't do anything. When you release that woman and you have, first of all, you have told her, I will kill you. Na watu wenyu hawatawai kukupata. I have had people who have been told, I will cut you up, and not even the police will ever find you. And then you go and actually do it, gesture you know, like now you strangle me or you beat me up, the way he was saying he beat her up vizuri.
Yes. Kumnyorosha vizuri.
What you have just told that person, they are not safe with you. You are not a safe place. So what is love, Lynn?
What is love?
Yes.
Yes, what is love?
Imagine.
Yeah.
Love is this. Number 1, kindness. Yeah. Number 2, compassion. What is compassion? Compassion is not sympathy. Compassion is where I feel sympathy for you and then I make your life better. So if I come and I see that you have not paid rent, I feel sorry for you. Then I go into my pocket and I give you rent for that month. Or I say, let me find you a job to make sure that you are well cared for. That's compassion. Number 3, love is empathy. That I can feel you. When you are in pain, I feel it, I understand it, I validate it. When you feel joy, I celebrate with you. Now think about it. How many people are in marriages where there is competition? You have gotten a promotion.
Yes.
And the person that you are married to or you are in relationship with, they come and say, siku hizi umeringa kwa sababu ulipewa promotion.
Yes.
Unajua, wewe ringa tu. Siku ya mtu hata tunaonanga wale wanaenda. That is not celebrating their life. And then number 4, you want a person. Love is respect. That I look at you, I don't understand you. Hata pengine umefanya kitu ingine mbaya, but that human respect, that you are a human being with emotions, with thoughts, you are intelligent and all that. When I offer you that, that's love. You see, love is also believing in you. You see, believing that you can do anything you put your mind into. Believing that you can change in this way, that I am willing to walk with you. And I am willing to tell you, I am going to put this boundary here because I know you can do better. That is belief. Believing in somebody doesn't mean that you hit me and I just say, najua ulikuwa tu umekasi. No. I am going to say, absolutely not. This is the boundary. The next time you hit me, there is going to be a consequence.
Exactly.
And that is integrity now. I am dealing with you from a space of adult. I'm not either going in and saying, I know you are angry. No. I'm not pacifying you. Neither am I fighting you.
Yes.
So I'm going into that space of being an adult and saying, Lynn, that is not you. You are better than that.
Yeah.
And because I know you can do better, there will be a consequence. That's why when you don't study for your exams,
You fail.
You fail.
That's the
because
consequence.
They know that you can do better.
Yes.
When ukipatwa na Mwakenya, they take you out and they tell you for a year, you go think about what you have done. Because we know you can do better than this.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So these punishments or what we call boundaries that we set in relationships, they are supposed to encourage people to change. And we all need to understand that. Because now when my wife walks away on me, I should be sitting there and saying, seriously, I must have done something wrong.
Yeah.
That man would have been on that set, being remorseful, not bragging, being remorseful that really this was something that I did that wasn't right. But we do understand, as a mental health counselors, we do understand where his mind is coming from. Yes. And again, I go back to those 4 things I said. When you don't have a sense of safety growing up, when you do not have a sense of control growing up, when you do not have a sense that I am competent growing up, and when you do not feel that you are loved and acceptable and that you can give love, when you miss those 4 things during your first 10 years of life, then the rest of your life you're just reacting. And then you are not able to grow outside of your raw humanness, which is, I want this, I go for it, I don't care what somebody else feels.
What somebody else feels.
Uliniuliza, is money, sex and comfort enough in a relationship? Absolutely not. Because that is not why we connect. We connect because I want somebody who is a soulmate, somebody who feels with me and who accepts me and embraces who I am.
Yes.
Romantic love, if it does not grow into unconditional love, it is just that, because we are always either on the high or the low.
Yeah.
We don't come into this space where we say, you remember there is a story about Abigail in the Old Testament, when her husband acted like a fool.
Yes.
She said, I usually say, she said, this is my fool,
Yeah.
forgive him, you know. And so if we can get to the point where we accept each other
Yes.
with our strengths and our weaknesses, but instead of focusing on the weaknesses, we build on the strength.
Yes.
And we allow ourselves to be influenced by each other, we will have very successful relationships.
Successful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Grace, for even accepting to come on the show.
Yes.
And as I said, if you accept my request, I
Yes.
would love to bring you back for more conversations. Before we conclude,
Yes.
what would be your parting shot to our audience?
Right. Now, this is my parting shot to our audience.
Yeah.
We are too quick to label people. So we obviously we have labeled George
Yes.
as a narcissist,
Yeah.
a wife beater,
Yes.
selfish man, control freak and all that.
Yeah.
And he is acting that way. But I also want us to understand that a lot of people in our community are suffering from mental health issues that they had no control over growing up, and now as adults they are trying to live their lives the best way they can.
Yes.
And so let us have compassion, and let us learn that that some of these labels we give people,
Yeah.
they can be changed if people are given the opportunity to understand that I'm not just this way. There is something that happened to me that actually brought me into this space where I am. Now, the other thing that I want to say to young ladies, I want to encourage young ladies, before you tie yourself to a man in a marriage, please get to know who you are. Understand what it means to be a woman, so that when you enter into marriage, don't try to be like the man.
Yes.
And just allow your femininity to be full blown, so that you can influence. That's what
Yes.
women do. Look at Esther
Yeah.
in the Old Testament. She influenced the
Yeah.
king.
Yeah.
When you look at people like Abigail, it's the same thing. She influenced David, and after her husband died, she became David's wife.
Yes.
And so wisdom for us women, we need to get that. We don't have to fight for control. We don't need that. You can control what's going on in your home by just being a wise woman. And I'm not talking about the Proverbs 31 woman.
Yes.
That one, we can discuss that another time,
Yeah.
about what I think about the Proverbs 31 woman. But we want to encourage women that we don't spend too much of our time trying to find a relationship with a man that you do not find a relationship with who you are, and connect. And now one more thing that I want to say for women is that if we are not careful, women can be very competitive with other women. And you see, you cannot be fully woman until you connect deeply with other women.
Yes.
You see, now so that now we hate the gender, but we don't know we do. And so we tend to just romanticize the relationship we have with men. And we need to understand that if you want to be successful in your marriage, be a woman who knows herself and who stands for what is right. And even in that relationship, in the very beginning of a relationship, you see the red flags, you need to put your foot down.
Put your foot
And
down.
you need to be consistent with the boundaries.
Yes.
And please do not second guess yourself on something that you know very well is not right.
It's not right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I know people will want to reach out to you.
Yes.
Because I think you've really helped a lot of people, especially those in such relationships.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to reach out to you or even get hold of you,
Yeah.
where can they do that?
Right, they can do that. I have a website,
Yes.
www.gracekaraoke.co.ke.
Okay.
When you go to my website, you will find all my other handles: Facebook, IG, Twitter,
Yeah.
and also my WhatsApp
Yeah.
number.
Okay.
And I will be so glad to help anybody who reaches out to me. I get a lot of people reaching out to me
Yeah.
through WhatsApp,
Yeah.
and we chat, and I give whatever direction that I can do. Yeah.
So on your website, they
Yes.
can even be able to find your WhatsApp contacts
Yes.
right there.
Yes.
Okay. Really looking forward to hosting you again.
Yes.
And I know all is not closed for
Yeah.
George and Helen. It's not
Absolutely.
like this is such a big deal that they need to crucify themselves.
Yes.
If they take the necessary actions and
Yes.
they really want to get help, then I know they can salvage. Even if it's not the relationship, they can build a conducive environment for
Yeah,
their
for
kids
their
to grow,
yes.
to grow in. And you, my people, thank you so much for always watching and supporting our work. And I'm looking forward to bringing you such conversations, because at the end of the day, we also want to provide solutions on the show. So how about you tell me what kind of conversation, types of conversation you want me to address, and I'll get people like Grace who are professionals and they can help us with this kind of conversations. Remember, you can also share your story with me. My email is right there pinned on the comment section below. We will attach the address where you can, we will link Grace, your website. We will link the link on the comment section below, so that you guys can also go and find out what kind of services does she offer. My name is Lynn Gugi. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.